I have a total of 70 rerolls, 70 more rerolls, and we're doing it on a secondary Eisen, just in case I don't get anything better than Godspeed. So I still keep this one. So we have 70 rerolls. This is gonna be horrible. Let's do it. Back out, go back in. Please. I got Celestial. We got a Celestial trait. At least it's a mythic trait. That's a 0.36. Okay, we're keeping that. I have 26 more rerolls. What other unit could I do? So because I got Celestial, do I roll on the other Eisen with Godspeed? Okay. I have one more. It happened again. It happened again. Every time I roll on this unit, I end up at Godspeed. Well, we got something at least. Oh my god. I'm not even kidding. I literally speedran this unit, getting all the way up to max evolution. So here it is, a maxed out Eisen with Celestial, my very first Celestial too. And oh my gosh, this trait is actually really amazing. But I'll go over that in a moment. But look at this. We have the unit, and the aura that it gets with the Celestial trait matches the unit very, very well. You can kind of see a little bit of it. You can see the extra purple around the character, and it's actually a little bit difficult to distinguish the actual purple the avatar has and the Celestial purple. It looks very similar, but there is a bit of a difference if you compare them side to side. This one's a lot more prominent. But I have not maxed it out yet, so we're going to be maxing out one of the Celestials and also one of my other Godspeed Eisens to compare the DPS. Will be slightly unfair because I'm pretty sure one of these is a way better roll. But look at this. Like we had 23.3 range on this one and 20 range on this one. So this one has like way more range. So it's going to be interesting to compare these two. So I'm guessing let's go ahead and go into a round so we can actually see how strong this brand new trait is. And to see if all that work was actually worth evolving the secondary Eisen. And also just to see if all those hours of work was worth evolving the Eisen again. I literally had to do this unit twice. And literally by default, look at the difference. Look at that range difference. That is a big boost on range on the new one. Which I'm pretty sure is mostly just because the default stats are way better on my new one that I got Celestial on. I honestly can't tell because I went back to my original Eisen video and I never showed the default stats because I lost the footage. So I honestly don't know which one was better. But by default, that damage increase is amazing. And I'm going to take this time while I get my money up because I need lots of money to level this unit up. I'm going to go ahead and explain what Celestial does and why it is so good. And why potentially it might be the best mythic trait outside of unique, which doesn't really count because this is a whole different level of awesomeness. So what Celestial does is it gives a 10% damage boost and a 10% range boost, which might also be why this one has so much more range than this one. And then on top of those two, it also has a 20% true damage. And if you don't know what true damage is, if you want to see what it looks like, if you go ahead and look at the numbers from the attacks, if there's true damage, there will be a black number above the other blue number or red number, depending on if you crit or not. And basically what that's doing is it's doing 20% of the damage dealt. So if you deal 100 damage, normally with true damage, it'll add on an extra 20 damage. And true damage on top of also showing a different number, which looks pretty cool. It also bypasses all of the shields above units. I don't know if it bypasses like the yellow health bars or like the floating shields, but these shields right here, it bypasses those. So if you're fighting an enemy that has like magic shield specifically for Eisen, because that doesn't deal magic, the true damage will ignore that shield and deal the full damage amount instead of like the negative like 40 that it would be dealing. So it is very good for rounds that have magic shields, but also the damage is still there anyway. So even if you're doing rounds without magic shields, it is still working, which is amazing because that's essentially a 30% damage increase, which might actually be a little bit higher because I think it like stacks differently, where it does the damage increase on the unit and then the true damage goes up even more. But I'm guessing let's go ahead and start upgrading it, and I'm guessing let's just go ahead and do the Celestial one first. So the first upgrade is 11,000 damage, same cooldown, and 2 more rage. Then 16,000 damage, same cooldown, and 1 more rage. And then the first ability, 24.5 thousand damage. I won't be showing the attacks because this is a pretty well-known unit, and I have a video on the unit already. Go watch that one. But 24,000 damage, 0.5 less cooldown, and same range. Then 29,000 damage, 0.5 less cooldown. 36,000. We are getting some insane damage. And then the full AoE upgrade, 55,000 damage. Then 72,000, 83,000, and then the ultra ability that makes hits air units, which is when the unit becomes very, very good, 167,000 damage. And just to compare it, if you go ahead and level this one up to that level, this is the Godspeed one that I had before. It's at 160,000 with 12.8 cooldown. And as you can see, it's a pretty big difference. 7,000 more damage on this one, but the cooldown is about like 3 seconds higher. A little bit less than that. Now on the default stats, if you calculate it, technically the Celestial is 2,000 less damage than the Godspeed one, which is significantly easier to get Godspeed. But that's because this number does not show the true damage. So if you want to see the actual true damage of the unit, take the damage and then like add 20% on a calculator. And the actual damage on this upgrade when it hits for the full damage is 200,000. There's literally an extra like 30-ish thousand damage just on the true, which also bypasses all shields. So it's even more damage if you're fighting units that have magic shields. And with the new calculation, technically this one now has 500 more DPS than this one, which isn't a huge jump, but it is a decent enough difference between potentially killing an enemy and not killing an enemy. That, and also the trait gives more range, so I have way more time. Look at this range difference. If they're lined up, so if I'm right here, if I swap over to the one with less range, look at all that missing space. That can be an entire extra hit, which with how much damage this unit deals is a lot more damage potential. But let's keep going. Next upgrade is 195,000 damage and 0.5 less cooldown. Then 223,000 damage, and then 267,000 damage and 14 cooldown. And also, that's a great number. Look at that number, 267697. That is a great looking number. But if you do the true damage add-on, the true damage does an extra 53.5 thousand damage. That is a huge amount of damage for a total of 321,000. What even is this? This is amazing. The DPS is literally 22.9 thousand. That is way too much. I love this. And just to compare it, here is the Godspeed version, which was my original Eisen. The DPS is 800 lower, which is a pretty big difference. That's almost 1,000 damage difference every single second. Technically 3,000 if you have all three placed down. So that is a really, really big increase. But it's honestly even better because the huge range difference. Look at this, because this one does have range. Here is the Celestial, here's the Godspeed. That is a huge difference. And the main reason why I'm going so hard on comparing this unit with Godspeed, of different reasons. First of all, they're the exact same unit, both with really good traits, and Godspeed is one of the better ones to get with this unit, just because of the long cooldown. But also so that we all know that Celestial is actually very, very good, because I have seen a couple people say that Celestial isn't good because they're not comparing the damage with the true damage. You gotta calculate the true damage alongside it to see the actual damage of the unit. And to be fair, true damage by default is just absolutely amazing because, yet again, it just bypasses all the things that make units deal less damage. Wait, let me check real quick. How much extra damage would it be if I was fighting a unit with 150 shield? Okay, I honestly don't remember if 150 shield, which is what most of the high-end bosses have, is 60 or 40, so I did both calculations. This damage right here, if it was 40%, would be dealing 100,000 less damage. If it was 60%, it would be dealing 160,000 less damage. Which means that the 50,000 damage from the true damage is literally adding back like a half of the damage that you lost. So yeah, that is pretty amazing. I'm so happy I got a Celestial trade. It looks so cool too. You could really see the difference in the purple too when we're next to each other. Oh yeah, just because I was curious, with the 10% boost they would have in most rounds, this unit would be dealing a total of 353,000 damage. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. That is literally 25,000 DPS. I'm so happy.